This isn't about me, but just so you know, my name is Anastasia. I run No Grace Suits, and today I'm going to be giving you a bunch of video tips, including how to come up with content, what to say, where to sit, where to put your camera, all of that sort of fun stuff. But I do want to start with one of the things that whenever I go to networking groups and say what I do, the first thing a lot of people say to me is, "Oh, but if I'm going to do reels, do I have to dance?" No. You can if you want to. I'm a horrendous dancer, despite all of my mother's best efforts when I was a kid. I don't dance. I tried to do a couple of happy dance reels a while ago. Yeah, even my husband said, please do not post those. So, no, you do not have to dance to do reels and video content for your business online. Okay, little bit of statistics just because gotta love those stats. This year, studies have shown that 89% of customers would like to see video from brands and from businesses. 89% want to see more video. That's pretty high. Then another stat, this is the last of the stats, I promise. I won't bore you with a bunch of stats. Another one though, videos featuring people generate nearly 40% more engagement than those without. So I know there's a big trend out there around doing the faceless reels thing and the digital marketing box and batch businesses that are all out there that still completely confuse me. But quite honestly, you can do a bunch of faceless stuff. Yeah, sure. But I'm going to bring it back to one thing. Why do people buy from small business rather than big business? Can pretty much guarantee it's not price, because the corporates will beat you on price almost every time. They buy from small business to support small business. And what's behind that? People. If people can connect with you, can connect with your team if you've got a team, they are more likely to get that feel-good, fuzzy feeling when they buy from you. And that's what it's all about. Now, I can't guarantee that videos featuring you are going to do better than cat videos. These go off, absolutely, as we know. I troll the internet a couple of times a day looking for fun cat videos, or dog videos, generally my favorite, but I know that there's a lot more cat fans out there. But what I was saying, videos featuring people definitely do better than videos that don't feature people. So we know that. As much as we don't want to face it sometimes, we know that we pause on our feed when we see somebody chatting away, more so than some stock images, which I'm going to show you in just a sec. So here's a bunch of relevant stock videos to different industries. We've got some marketing in there. We've got photography. We've got accounting, financial planning. These are all very obviously stock videos, and these are stock videos that are used constantly to try and gain people's attention. For me, I wouldn't stop my scroll on any of these. Not a one. Then there's this. Videos featuring people, business owners, chatting about their businesses, their journeys, what they do, why they do it, who they've helped, why they help them. I, for one, and I know a lot of other people are in the same boat, would click on or sit and actually watch one of these a lot more than one of these. And no, they don't have to be perfect. Not one of these videos is what I would call absolutely perfect. I know every single one of these people. I recorded all of these videos and edited them. Are any of them perfect? Nah. Were any of them done in a studio? No. So that's what I kind of want to get you to the point of today, or at least getting there a bit. So we're going to go into our tips when you are recording videos. First things first, be very careful what's behind you. This, if you saw this news story, I think it was last year, this expert was being interviewed by BBC News in Wales. Unfortunately, she didn't check everything that was in her background. And if anybody can see something rather unfortunate on the top shelf of her bookshelf there, perhaps she should have checked what's behind her. Yeah. Now, it's not about making your background perfect. It's also not about using virtual backgrounds. Now, you're seeing me on a virtual background at the moment just because I'm in front of the slides, but I very rarely use a virtual background. It's very obvious when you do. And it can make a lot of weird stuff happen, especially for women with their hair out and things like that. Anyway, not a huge fan of virtual backgrounds. But your background doesn't have to be perfect. Just not what poor Yvette has done there. And nothing that's too distracting from you because you're the feature. I've done a video before where one of my kids left a toy in the background and straight away I got questions around, what is that behind you? That's not your goal. So just check what's behind you. Make sure there's nothing embarrassing. Make sure that unless it's your goal, nothing that's going to capture people's attention over and above you and what you're talking about. Your brand colors are a great addition if you can. And I'll show you at the end what my background really looks like aside from the slides, but I won't change my screen sharing at the moment because I know that can muck everything up Zoom-wise. Anyway, next, a lot of people say, but what do I wear? Want. Whatever you want. Couple of tips, if I'm going to give you tips. Brand colors, again, nice addition, just to keep everything looking in line with the image and the brand personality that you want to put forward. Stripes, especially horizontal stripes that are fairly thin, can do that weird wavy thing. There is a name for the effect. I can never remember the name, so we just go weird, wacky, wobbly, wavy thing. Can be a bit distracting. Solid colors are less distracting than prints. Now, a lot of the time I will have a print. I've got a scarf here that I put on if I'm not wearing something great that day. So if I'm wanting to record a reel and not wearing something that's great, so something like active wear, or hey, if I'm still in my pajamas and I want to record a reel, best tip I can give you for that, always have a scarf behind you that you can just grab so that you can just record when the inspiration hits. I grabbed this one. This one is a lovely Casey rainbow scarf. Yes, it is not a solid color. It is absolutely beautiful and colorful, but that's my branding. And then I don't have to worry about, oh, I'm not going to do a reel today or tonight because I'm not wearing the right thing. I'm not dressed right. I haven't got my work clothes on. Grab a scarf. Covers everything. We're only seeing you from here up anyway. And one other thing, try and avoid blending into your background too much. Now, that one doesn't happen too often with people in an office setting like this, but if you're sitting, say, against your kitchen or dining room wall and it's a beige color, don't wear a shirt that's exactly the same color. You'll look like a floating head. If your background is black, don't wear a black shirt like I have today. Again, you'll look like a floating head. So try not to blend into your background too much. And yeah, that's really it when it comes to what you're going to wear. If you're recording on something like Zoom or even Google Meet now when you're recording and you're the type of person that sort of goes, oh, but I haven't done my makeup, there's filters for that built into the recorders. In Zoom and in Google, I don't know about the Apple versions because I don't do Apple stuff, there are actually buttons before you hit record that say touch up my appearance just that little bit. Now, it doesn't add a bunch of makeup like your Snapchat filters or anything like that, but it smooths things a tiny bit. Any really bad glare, like on your forehead, if you're a little bit of a shiny person, it gets rid of some of that and just gives you that ever so slight smoothing across your face, which if you're the type of person that normally wears makeup, but you want to record a reel and you haven't done it today, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. I've used it heaps when I'm just having one of those days. Hot tip as well, it does also do a pretty good job most of the time of hiding that lovely pimple that loves to pop up right on the tip of your nose when you feel like recording something. Next, camera angles. Now, most people know that their webcam if they're using a desktop like I am, sits above the monitor. So you're normally pretty okay there. But a lot of people then, if you're using a laptop, you're going to be recording from up and under. I would not recommend that. Try and raise the laptop, try and use a separate camera if you need to, because if you have your camera looking up like this, not only is it very unflattering, it can do disastrous thing for the double chin or the turkey neck, but it also, I don't want to see up your nose. That's not flattering. That's not cool. And it's distracting. Another one, make sure your face stays center of frame. Now, this is one that I've done quite a few reels on. If you want to know a little bit more about it, jump onto my own socials. But when you're sitting in front of your camera, it's very tempting to get right up close, really up close. Don't do that, especially if you're recording on a webcam and not your phone. You're recording in landscape or sideways view. If you want to reuse or repurpose any of that content for your socials, you want it to be in portrait or upright view. So sit back enough so that if you were to crop that video, just admitting people as I go, if you were to crop that video into a portrait or upright view for a reel on Instagram, TikTok, whatever it might be, you can do that easily without then just having a whole frame of just your face, which might also put you off posting it. Check that you're not partially in shadow. That is more if you are going to be recording outside. Inside, you can normally avoid that. Your lighting is normally a little bit, shall I say, smoother for that. But if you are outside, if you're partially in shadow, you can either look really creepy, which might be what we're going for with Halloween coming up, or it can highlight bad parts of your face. It can cause glare off glasses, that kind of thing. So just check your shadows, check your lighting, and just make sure that if somebody is watching you, they're seeing you and not just a little bit of your face like we are with that gorgeous kitten there. All right. Sound and microphones. If you can, grab a separate microphone. Your earpods, or I don't know what the iPhone ones are called, but yeah, your little earpods. Sound's not great on those, especially if you're outside. They do capture a lot of wind noise, and that can be hard to clean up if you want to try and clean up that audio. And it also makes it harder for things like transcription services if you're wanting to do some captioning to actually get that right. So either use, I'm going to show you another one here, either use a separate mic like this or an actual headset with mic. Okay, a headset with a microphone. Oh, I'm going the wrong way because I'm in mirror. Headset with a microphone that comes down a little bit closer to your mouth is a lot better. You can also check the settings when you are connected to your computer, whether it be in Zoom or something like that, and make sure that you've got all of those little optimization things on. So if you're in a noisy environment, turn on the filtering to get rid of the background noise. The computers do a pretty good job of doing that. So just prepare your computer for that. It'll remember the settings. So you really only have to do a lot of this stuff once to set yourself up. If you are doing a bunch of recording and it's not just an off-the-cuff thing, do a test first and play it back. And not only play it back through your speakers, but play it back through earphones as well, because sometimes you'll pick up different bits of noise that you might be getting. So whether that's you're too close to the microphone, so then you're getting that reverb feedback, whether you're too far away from the microphone, or whether it just didn't pick you up. I did a whole recording the other day and sent it to a client because that's how I communicate. And she got it and she came back to me laughing, going, "So, Video Queen, you forgot to actually turn on your proper mic." Turns out I had this one turned on, the headset mic turned on, not this one, and the headset mic was on the other side of the room. So she could hear me not. So test things first. Quiet location. So I know that every second Thursday I can't record in my home office. Why? Because I've got 2 huskies and that's the day that they get groomed and they sing the song of their people for 3 hours. Separation anxiety with huskies is mad. When one goes out to get cleaned, the other one screams constantly. Everybody thinks we're killing our dogs every fortnight. But kids noise, animal noise, people noise, just try and eliminate it where you can, just so that the microphone and the software doesn't have to do as much to get rid of the background noise. You'll get a much cleaner audio there. And this last one, people laugh at me with this one, but have a drink beforehand. But I'm going to use a word that everybody hates here. Make sure your mouth doesn't sound too moist. After you have a drink, chat away for a second just to yourself. It gets rid of a lot of it. That squishy, icky sound, if you've just got half a mouthful of drink or coffee still in your mouth, doesn't come across well, and it's really hard to edit out too. That's your sound stuff. Now for the big one, and I'm glad for timing that we've gotten onto this pretty quickly. What do you say when you get on Reels? Does anyone want to chuck an industry or something into the chat? And I'll ask you some questions to give you some ideas of what you'd like to say. We can do this if you want some ideas. If not, I'm just going to pick some random stuff. I did just get a question in there about something else though. What are your thoughts on adding background music afterwards? Was advised to do this to overdue background, but it involves lots of messing around with sound volumes. Yeah, sound volumes and adding audio, if you want to try and grab some trending audio or something like that in the background, it does mean a lot of mucking around. I do it very occasionally, but I'm more likely to use trending audios as over the top of B-roll footage. So B-roll footage being stuff that is more faceless or isn't faceless, but isn't me talking. So your talking head videos, I actually tend to leave background audio out or background music out of. I find it's distracting, even if you do lower the volume of it right up and then pull your voice up. Yeah, unless it's an intro, so like your intro to your podcasts and things like that, unless you're wanting to do something like that with the background sound that sort of fades away as you get into the meaty bit of the video, I try and avoid background music over the top of me or underneath me speaking. And that's the same for my clients when I'm editing videos for them. I try and only use it for when I'm topping and tailing as opposed to right through. It's too much messing around. It's another barrier to you actually just posting the video. And that's not what I want. So I've got a couple of industries that have come in here, and I'm going to pick on a couple of them. I won't be able to do all of them in this session, but I love this because what I am going to do is record for the ones that I don't get to and send it all to all of you guys later and post it on my socials as well for anybody else that might find it useful. So the first one is mortgage broker, which is hilarious because I'm an ex-mortgage broker. I don't know if you guys actually knew that. That was my previous life. I was a mortgage broker. So as a mortgage broker, one thing I would like you to talk about for 60 seconds, and I'm not going to get you to do it today, but it's just as an idea. First thing I'm going to say to you, if you can't think of something to post, is, all right, tell me about the most tricky self-employed deal that you've had to put through. What was tricky about it? And how did you get it to work? So something like that, you could go through, all right, I had a self-employed deal. It was a company and trust structure. It had multiple entities. I had multiple directors pulling out both wages and drawings. In just that little bit of describing what the problem was, you've potentially just connected with clients that have that same structure or similar and have been going, oh, nobody's going to be able to deal with this. It's too hard. Broker's going to hate me. There's no point in going to refinance because it's just going to be way too problematic to get through all of the stuff that my accountants put together. And then you move on to the, how did you put it together? How did you actually get this to make it work? Did you talk to the bank first and ask how they would like it presented? Or did you already have enough experience with ones of these types to know that, all right, I'm going to ask my client to ask their accountant, because you can't go direct, I know that, for something, for a tree. That's the word I'm looking for. It's been a while since I did mortgage broking. For a tree, explaining how all of the entities are connected and the flow of the money. How does the money flow? So I got that from the accountant together with all of the financials that I needed. And because I'd done that background work on understanding the business, I was able to go to a lender that I knew was really good with this. And after a couple of weeks, they did ask for a little bit more information on XYZ, whatever it might be. We got them approved. They had their pre-approval. They went to auction. They bought the house. Happy days. Now, you would expand a tiny bit on that. I've done that really quickly and I've been out of the game for a while, but that's just an idea of, there you go, you've got a whole reel there. And it connects with somebody that's in your target audience because you're telling the story of somebody you've helped in your target audience. Hair and beauty is a good one for not just your why and things like that, but hair and beauty, I love for things like, again, stories, customer stories. If you do hair and beauty for, say, kids around formal time, watching a girl come in who doesn't normally wear makeup, and watching that transformation, telling the story of that transformation of not just how you made her look beautiful, but how you made her feel beautiful as well. So touching on those touchy-feely things and really getting into that more emotional side of it. But again, a story around your ideal client, especially if something's coming up. So if you've got formal time coming up, and I think it's actually just finished, but if you've got formal time coming up, then telling a story from last year's formal time is fantastic. And as a parent of a teen who's most likely paying that bill, I would go, you know what? Yeah, my daughter isn't really a makeup kid, and I've been a little bit nervous trying to take her in somewhere and she's not really going to like it. But now I've heard this story of how you made her comfortable in the chair, how I spoke to her about doing a more natural look with her makeup because that's what she's more comfortable with, and really listening to her. And in the end, she was super happy with it. She felt confident. She looked amazing and she had a great night. As a parent, if I was a parent of a teenager, I'm not, I've got toddlers, but I would be much more likely to relate to that and want to take my child or my teenager to you because I understand that you've dealt with and you've helped somebody in that situation before. So that's just another one. I don't know whether you do formal time, but that's one idea straight off the top of my head. Okay, we are all right. So I've got quite a few more there. I'm not going to go into them because I am conscious of time. But remember, I will send you through some additionals afterwards. I will keep all of this chat and I will send you through some ideas for each one of those afterwards. I might even stalk your business pages if I can find them and give you some ideas. Next idea. Grab a notebook and always have it next to you, or it's up on your phone or whatever it might be. I love paper. Oh, that's my background too. I don't have to try and wrangle the tech. I forgot I put this in. That's my background normally. It's not perfect. It's not amazing. It has a toy crane down here, but it has got some of my branding in there. It's fairly neutral for the most part. There's nothing majorly distracting there. There's nothing majorly embarrassing there either. So it doesn't have to be perfect. That's far from perfect. It's not studio, very clearly, but it's pretty good for what I do. Pretty good. Anyway, the notebook. For your ideas for your reels, every time a customer asks you a question that is general knowledge question, not specific about their particular case, write it down. Get together your big list of questions. And then when you feel like doing a reel, or when you sit down with intention to do a reel, flick through that and choose one that resonates with you that day. You don't have to start from top to bottom. You might not want to talk about the first question on the page, but if you start getting a library of questions together, you'll have heaps to pick from. And they're questions that your customers have actually asked you. So whether that's in their discovery calls, their initial calls with you, whether it's existing customers and things they want to know about your industry or about you, your journey, write them all down. It takes 2 seconds to write the question down. You know the answer because you're already answering it. Write it down. That's one of the best ways I find to come up with ideas for content. We're at the end because Zoom is going to kick us off soon, because for Zoom, I do only use the free version. Hey, we're business owners. We've got to keep things, not cheap, but affordable, right? And I already pay Google a fortune, even though their platform's not as great for this. But in about 5 minutes' time, you should get an email in your inbox, lovely automated email, which has a lot of these tips and more in a guide that you can keep. So you didn't have to necessarily try and remember everything there. Now, this morning, it's been in the works for a little while, but this morning I also finally actually hit go live on a group. Now you can see there it is, brand new, 1 member as of 124 today. which is only me. But the idea behind the group is for business owners like us to get a second set of eyes over things. Most of us probably don't have big teams to bounce ideas off, to go through approval processes, that second set of eyes that might pick up on something. So the idea here is whether you're doing video or whether you're putting an ad out there, print ad, whatever it might be, want a second set of eyes over your website, want somebody to look over your blog before you post it, check for typos, that kind of thing. What I want this group to be is just that space. Now, I have a very clear first rule if you do want to join, which is don't be a dick. And what that encompasses is when we are giving feedback to each other, be nice about it. But what that doesn't mean is go to the opposite end and just always say that everything is hunky-dory, wonderful, rose-colored glasses style stuff. What I want in there is good, actionable feedback from a bunch of people from a bunch of different industries, walks of life, because it's something that a lot of small business owners just don't have. And yeah, there's a couple of big groups out there for small business owners that you could do this with. You see a lot of which logo, one or two in there. But they can be a little bit bitchy. They can be a little bit harsh. And what I want to create here is just, it's free. I'm really not getting anything out of it, but it's something that I always wished existed. I've got some of those in paid groups that I'm part of, but I wanted a free group just that's friendly, safe space, share stuff. There's also some rules in there around don't take someone else's idea. That's just horrible. We don't do that. If you can, I'd love you to join. Again, it's brand new, so I haven't actually posted it out to the masses or anything. You guys are the first ones hearing about this because I was only working on it this morning and decided to chuck it into this last slide. But yeah, it's basically just called No Grey Suits the Group. But that is almost it for this. There is... Oh, what's wrong with grey suits? Okay. No, the whole idea for No Grey Suits, if we do have a couple of minutes left, was I come from corporate. I come from banking, mortgage broking. And when I came up with the idea, it was, to tell you the truth, the actual business name came to me at about 3 a.m. when I was still on maternity leave with my second kid. And I'm sitting there feeding this child. I was extremely sleep deprived. And I just thought, No Grey Suits. What it means, it's not literal. I actually wear a grey suit on occasion, which makes people laugh. But the whole idea behind it is helping small business owners be themselves and not just follow the way things have always been done. Whether it's the old boys club or whether it's, particularly in finance, we see it a lot. You have to be a certain type of person. Real estate, you have to be that outgoing, that certain, you wear a suit on Sundays thing to go and do letterbox drops. It's breaking away from that stereotype if you want to, and just doing things your own way. Chances are you started your business because you were sick of working for someone else and doing everything their way. So the idea behind No Grey Suits is giving you a little bit of a push or a little bit of almost permission to, with your marketing and on video, show who you are a little bit and don't try and wear a mask that's not you. Now, if a grey suit is you, awesome. Again, got a few. Husband has heaps. He works in government. But the whole idea is that, yeah, be yourself a little bit, because at the end of the day, it comes back to that, why do we choose small business owners or small businesses for our business? To support the people behind it, not to support the CEOs of the big corporates. So don't try to be that. You're not that. Show who you are. Show a little bit of personality, a little bit of color maybe. Anyway, I am going to jump off. You guys can also, you should all have my email address, especially by now. That email should have sent with the workbook or guide. If anybody does have any questions, please flick them through by email or join the group and ask them there. And I will also make sure that the notes from this meeting, the chat does save, and I will come back to each one of you. So if you want to throw any more industries in there, now's your time. All right, I've got a couple of people saying can't find the group on Facebook. I'll flick you through the link to it. It could be because I only set it to live literally less than an hour ago. So it could just still be coming. Who knows? Facebook's one of those things. So I'll send you through the link. hope that was helpful for a few people. And yeah, oh, I've got one more industry popping in there. So I'm just leaving it live for a little bit in case there's any more industries to come in. I have fun with these. Nope, no more. All right. If you do have any other industries you'd like to ask for ideas on and you don't get it in time for this, flick me through an email. I'll be happy to do a reel on it. Take care,
Thank you so much.
everyone.
Thank you, Anastasia. Thank you.
Bye.